Um, so we'll start with the first unit. There are about 3 units to this subject of yours. The first is pronunciation, stress, and intonation. It's basically introduction to the language English and um communication. Right. So this paper is about communicating in English. So it's an introduction to that. So there are three major topics that are discussed in this, and we'll see them as we go through. All right. Right. Uh, so these are few of the facts about English. So what the first one is that English is one of the languages which has the most vocabulary in the world. Uh, of all the existing languages, English has one of the most vocabulary present. All right, vocabulary is the most words present. Um, English is the most learned second language worldwide, and there are millions of people around the globe who study this language, English, as a foreign language. And English is known as a borrowed language. That is to say that most of the words in this language is borrowed and is not originally or unique to English. All right. So, unlike many languages with a standard accent, English doesn't have a universally recognized correct accent, and it differs from region to region. Okay. So there is no set standard or accent to English. It keeps changing according to countries, geographical borders, cultures, uh, you know so everyone has their own accent or way of speaking, or in the way they write. I mean, in the way they write it out and all that. Now, another very thing unique to this language is the silent letters. um about these silent letters, right? So how do I say, um like I said, it's only there in English. So if you get a hang of it, you might be able to uh, go about it. But then if you don't really know what it is and how it works, then it might actually take you for a ride. And the final interesting fact is that uh, there are different tenses, right? Tenses as in हिंदी में जिसको काल बोला जाता है. So इंग्लिश में फ्यूचर टेंस जो है, फ्यूचर टेंस इज नॉट प्रेजेंट. Okay. Instead, it uses auxiliary verbs. So there are certain kinds of verbs. So auxiliary verb is a kind of verb. Whenever you have to talk about the future tense, we use this auxiliary verb instead, and there is no particular future tense that's given. So these are just some interesting facts about English. Now let's see how the journey of English started, right? The history. So English as a language, it originated from the Germanic languages spoken by Anglo-Saxons in the 5th and 6th centuries. Okay, and it has its influence in from Latin, French, and Norse. Originally, these three languages were supposed to be uh, the major contributors to English. Okay, then it only became a global language when the British came in into the picture. Okay, so British came in and they started expanding their rule, and therefore they started, also carrying English with them and taking it to places wherever they went. And that is how the globalization of English began. Uh, but even then, people So right now, like I told you, right, there's no proper accent or there is no proper way to speak English as such. But even then, there is a certain standardization to the subject. Standardization मतलब एक एक तरीका है, there is one, एक rule है by which you speak the language. And this only started, all these rules and all of this came into place only in the, all of this rule came into place only in the 15th century. Okay, so before that, there was a language where there were no set rules. So you will see that English is basically, uh, a pretty much a new language. And the standardization process, all these rules and everything came into place because of the invention of the printing press. And this only led to the uniformity of the language. Now, English has numerous dialects and accents. Okay. So, like I said, everyone around the world has their own unique way to speak the language. So, they have their own dialects and own accents. And vocabulary is different in each region. Okay. So, how is that? How is it different? For example, the word color, right? We uh, the word color means rang, right? uh Now let's take so basic meaning of color is what? It's rang or colors, or the different kinds of colors that you have, and you stop there. But in India itself, we say that my life is very colorful. So that means what? It means that there is a lot happening in my life, correct? But if you use the same phrase in US, then no one will understand what you are actually trying to say, right? So, uh, like I said, all of these different vocabularies and different dialects and accents that are used, it varies according to the geographical regions. Okay. Now, English is considered stress themed. So, sorry, stress timed. So, the each language has its unique way of speaking, right? So, English as a language, it is stress timed. So, based on the stress that you give, is how the meaning of the words or the sentences that you speak is understood. That we'll see, all right, further. Meaning that the rhythm depends more on the stress syllables than on each syllable being evenly spaced. Okay. So, it's not about, so like like in our Indian languages, we have different matras and all that, right? And based on those is how we uh, and also how they are paced, how they are placed, right? So if the ra comes first and the ka comes second and the fa comes last, so you will have to pronounce it that way, right? So it is how it is placed. But in English, it is more of which letter you give stress on. So based on this is how the whole language is developed. Okay. So this is a brief introduction of how English has seen its journey. Now, what is communication, right? So communication is like a game of telephone. Why? Because sometimes the messages. So, what is communication? Communication is what? It is to say something, right? It is like I am communicating right now. What? I am teaching English right now as a language, right? So, I'm communicating a sort of idea about what English is, or right now, what communication is. So, I'm trying to put a sort of idea into your brain, right? So, It is to say something to another person, and whether that person is able to understand what you are saying, grab the idea completely, and make sense out of the words or syllables or the themes that are being discussed. Okay, so this is basically the brief definition of communication. Here are two very quirky way or fun way to understand what communication is. So it's written that communication is like a game of telephone, right? So imagine there are two children who are on telephones on either side, and they're playing some sort of game, right? So sometimes the messages get garbled, as in sometimes you don't know what the other person is saying. Sometimes you can get only bits and pieces of what they're saying. Sometimes it's spot on. Sometimes you just get it what they're saying, right? But it's always about trying to get your thoughts out of your head and into someone else's. Correct? Using, and how is this done? It's done by using words, gestures, and even occasional dance moves. Right? So dance moves doesn't literally mean that you're dancing. It's by saying that you use different ways of trying to communicate with the person. So of course there is non-verbal and verbal communication. There are different kinds of communication. So non-verbal communication, these dance moves also included, because when you're going out for drama or this and you go for English plays and all that, and you see someone acting it out without any dialogues, and it's just acting, then it is communicating through different actions, different gestures, or the dance that they do, right? Now that's also sort of communication. The other way to understand it is a art of turning your thoughts into a message. So first we saw that there is a message, and in this message you put out your thought. So this is another way, right? uh so it is an art to turn uh, out your thoughts into messages, right? And while you're doing this, you're hoping that it lands where you intended it to land. So when you're putting out the message, you're hoping that it reaches in the right place. All right. So now how is this done? It is done whether through words, looks, or perfectly timed emoji. Now I've put emoji here because in today's world it's very perfectly timed. For everything we use emojis, and now we have stickers also. So this is how different types of communication are, right? Now, um, so what is it exactly? So it is a glue that holds the world together, and uh, without it, we'd all be like solo puzzle pieces, just waiting to connect. So it is communication that actually helps connect the world, right? With from one person to another. Only through communication are we able to engage or make sense of the world. So it's like a Wi-Fi for the human mind, right? That which helps the mind to connect. So, why is communication given the example of a mind is because it helps you connect. And without it, you'd be disconnected and you'd be lost in your own thoughts, and you'll be able to not communicate with people. You'll not be able to say what is going on in your mind, and so on and so forth, right? So these are just different ways of understanding what communication is. It's basically to put out words or gestures or whatever, and trying to say something to the other person. It's how you socialize, right? Okay, so to begin with, to um, learn English, first we must go to the very basics. And the very basic of studying and learning any language would be to learn its alphabets, right? So now in English we have alphabets A to Z, right? Now there are the Gen Zs, or the current trend is to say A to Z, but it is not Z, it is Z. Okay. Uh, and this alphabets from A to Z is divided into alphabets, mind you, is divided into two categories, what we call as vowel and consonants. Okay. So the whole bunch is divided into vowels and consonants. Okay. This is specific for the alphabets. Now, these alphabets have their own sounds. This particular sound system is divided into three. That is vowel sounds, consonant sounds, and third is diphthongs. Okay. So we are specifically going to look at, I mean, obviously, if you learn, diphthongs are not alphabets, okay, mind you, it's sound system. So that's why I said it's divided according to sounds. Now, we are going to look at the sound codes. Only that would make more sense because in that only you have your alphabet or what is vowel and what is consonants. So, in the alphabetical set, there are five vowels, that is A, E, I, O, and U. All right. A, E, I, O, and U. So there are five vowel. Okay. So what is A? A is the first letter that appears in the alphabetical order. And how do you pronounce this, right? So there are, okay, so each alphabet has a different way of pronunciation, and that's very unique to themselves. And like I said, now this is how we pronounce it here, okay? But it might just be that you go to some other country and it's pronounced completely different. But we follow the uh, British way of pronunciation and spellings, and not the American. All right. So the first is A. And how do you pronounce this A? It is pronounced either as A, A. That's a sound of A. It's A, as in A-H-A. So A. So it could be that, or like in cat, right? So A. So it could be A. So as in cat. So cat. So cat. So the in cat, right? Or in day. In day. In day, it's like I, right? So I. That is the sound of A here. So like eh are the two sounds of A. Three sounds. First is R, then we have ca, and then you have A. These are the three sounds of A. Next is E. E, by the way, this is just a fact. E is the most used vowel or alphabet in the whole set. Okay. So, um, so E, how is it pronounced? It's E, exactly like how it is written. It's E, like like C. So E, as in the word C, E, that is a sound, or also A. Just like in A we had AH A, in E we have A. Okay. So A as in what? As in bed. So bed. A. So be, a, d. So the A sound E in between is pronounced this way. All right. So this is how E is pronounced. You have I, that I. Uh, this is pronounced as uh, I is pronounced like I itself, like in the word high, right? So ha, ah, so high, e, so I, high, or like in sit, so C, E, right? So it can be like I for high and sit. So it's the I over here, the sound is that of I, I. So si. So like you have E like sit. So see it. It's a very short form of E. So sit. Or you have that of sight. So I, SITE is sigh, I. It's pronounced like I. Okay. Or like in high. So I. So high, sight. All of this I is pronounced as the long is pronounced as EYEI. There's a short form also like E, right? The short form of E, like E. So like sit, E, the seat. So sit, okay? So this is how I is pronounced. Now you have O, which is the fourth one. O is like O, like we had it in, it's O, like orange, or like that, or like O. So O would be like to say go, right? So oh, so go, oh, or like in hot, ha. So oh, that oh sound that you're getting is because of the O in it, right? So orange or excuse me, or hot, uh, or oregano I've given over here, right? Yeah. So oregano, go. So or O. These are the two sounds that O has. All right. The last vowel is U. Okay. Um, U is a bit more unpredictable. It's like U can be used as use. So you, right? You. So use, Y-O-U, you. That you, I mean, the obvious question of if you can just be written with you, why is it Y-O-U? That's a whole question to be answered that we never know. But you as in use, you, the you, right? Use. So the you that comes at the sound. And then you have ka, a is very specific to but sometimes you also can have the same sound of so like in cup, right? So you say cup. So cup. So ka, the over there is not a but you. So ka. And so like we say, you is very unpredictable and almost like, its existence is always in question. So these are the five vowels you have. That's A, E, I, O, and U. Okay. So with this, we finish the vowels. And then you have the consonant. Consonant is basically all the other alphabets other than these five. Starting with B, that is B. So bat, right? Birmingham, that's a place in London. Bat, Birmingham. Brewing, right? Or block. So it's like blocking that air inside your mouth and then letting it go. So that's B. Then you have C, that's cat, right? So the K, or city. So, sir, why is C having the sound of S? Is that debatable? But here, it's mostly K and sir, right? So it can be soft like that of sir. So city, sir, city, or it can be that of K, that is cat, right? Then the is coming from D, right? It's very direct, right? It's very straightforward. So you have dog, You have dog mattress, or you have dogmatic, or you have drums. So it's very straight. It's the. Okay. Then you have F, that is fur, like fun. But there are certain words, like I've mentioned over here. We have phone, that is fur. And sometimes, yeah, you have phone, that is also fur sound. Uh, that is ph, right? PH. But it's still phone. We don't say phone. It is phone. Then you have fun, or you have fan. So it's a first sound for the F, right? Then there is G, that is G, or J. It can overlap with J if you're thinking. So G is G for girl, or go, or goes, all this word. And then you have J for words like giant or gigantic, right? So we say J. So J for the word G. So it's not J, it's Gij. So it's still gigantic or gigantic. All right. Then you have H. H is pronounced as her, um, like hot, right? So hot, hot, or it's honor. It's honor. Here it is a bit soft. You do not say honor, so you don't let out the air. But when you say hot, you let out the air. So it's a burst of air that comes out of your mouth, and that's hot. But when it has a softer version, you don't let out the air. It's more of a silent H, right? So it's honor, honor. Okay, honor means what? Man, someone, honor. Okay, so honor. Then you have J, that's J or Z. It can be J or Z, J, that kind of thing. So it's like in jazzy, right? So jazzy, so jolly, or jump. So it's all j. It's a very plain, just like D. It's a very plain word. Then you have K. That's again uh, K, but it can be silent sometimes, like in night. Night means soldier. ठीक है? So night. नाइट का स्पेलिंग है KNIGTGHT. ये स्पेलिंग में के जो है वो साइलेंट आता है, तो वी से इट एज नाइट. ओके, द के इज साइलेंट, नाइट. ऑलराइट. And in words that it is pronounced, it's pronounced as k. So kite, kind, right? So kite, kind. So your tongue touches the upper palate. Palate matlab wo upar ka. Your the upper the roof of your mouth. That's called a palate. Okay. So your upper palate. You have to touch it and your tongue with that, and you say ka. So kite, kite. All right. So kind. Then there is L. That is it's L. So it's la. So, as in for lip, 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 right? Or lollipop, right? Lollipop. So, lollipop. Okay. Then there is M, that is or right? So, it can be like man, man. So, like I said, there can be two this, right? So, and So man is not it's So man, and there is moon, right? So man and moon. There is mom, right? Then there is n, that is na. Uh, like the word nitty, I've written nitty over here, or nifty, I've written nifty. Nice. So na, nice, or na. Okay, net. Or in sa and, so sa and के बाद जो sound है, that is because of the n. So sand, sa d. So sa d. So sound is because of the n. No. Okay. Then you have p, that is p. So you have pouch, pouch, p, punch, p, pocket, p, and all such things. All right. Pen, pup, all p. Then you have q, which is mostly quiet in nature, and you will find q mostly with the letter u. Okay. So it's like how it is there in word of quack. So qua. It's a very, it's not qua exactly. It's uh, if I don't say qua, you will not understand. So cut qua into half, right? So qua. That is a sound of q actually. So quack. So quack, right? Quick. Quack. So that is a sound of q. So like as in quack and quick, right? Then you have r, that is raw. So roar, right? So roar. Is the so it can be rolling your tongue, or it just could be normal. So it could be like red or roar. So both, right? Rolling your tongue, roll matlab, you take your tongue in and say roar, either that or red, plain. All right. Then there is S, that is a sir, like in soft, sir, soft, sun, or snake, right? So all of this is sir. Then you have ter, that is T, that is as in tap, 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 ter, ter, okay? Or tall, or timid, it's all ter. Okay, so there is no competition for ter. T, and then you have the final ones, that is V, that is were, as in for the were is the sound, there's no other this, like for wet, or velvet, or van, or wow, it's all were. Okay, now W is a little wacky. Why is there a W when you have V is a big question, because the sound of W is also a sound of W. It's a W. It's not exactly W. It's a bit of W. Okay, it's not a full sound. The W is not a full sound. It's half. It's a W. It's not W. It's W. So in window, it's a very subtle half W. Okay, so window, it's not window like we say, it's window, it's window. So it's a half verb. It's wave. So it's a half verb. It's a wave. It's not wave. It's a wave. Okay. Then you have I've written a word over here called wacky and wobbly and woo. Right. So wacky. It's wacky. It's not wacky. It's wacky. It's wobbly. It's wobbly. Okay. So wobbly. So it's a very subtle sound. Then you have X, and X is for what are the different so. So it's so, right? So just like we have the sh in our Indian languages, we have X, we have s, not sir, it's so. Okay, so like fox, sir, right? Sir. So it's Fox, fox, or X mystery. So these are different sounds for X. Then you have Y. Y is literally like why am I here? But okay. So Y is more of a sound of you, like you. Right? Yeah. So you. It's not U-Y-O-U. I mean you. You with a h sound in the end, with the air out in the end, like you. So like yellow. Yeah. Yellow. Yeah. Yellow or cry. Ah. So cry. So like a vowel sound in the end of you or I, like cry, or it could be hue by in words like yellow or like play. So it's very tricky with this Y, right? So because its sound keeps shifting. So you have um yeah, the last word was play. So play, right? Then you have the final alphabet, that is Z, which is not Z, it's Z. Okay. And it has a Z, like a buzzing sound. So just like in the word buzz, B-U-Z-Z, it's buzz. So buzz, Z, or in zebra. Okay, zebra. We call it zebra, not zebra. Zebra is a American pronunciation. So zebra, Z, zebra. Okay. Zap, zap. Okay. Zip, zip, right? So zip. So Z. So these are your consonants. So with this, we finish the alphabets. Okay. But like I said, we are not focusing on the alphabets, we are focusing on the sound. That is why I told you the sound of each of the alphabets. So we're done with vowels, we're done with consonants, and we're going to do diphthongs. And the meeting is going to end in a few minutes, but I guess we will continue. Um, okay. So what